day 3 of the Stuck at Home Challenge. Hopefully it doesn't rain on me. All right, gang, here we go, day 3. So it's been raining all night. So I decided I would come outside because there's a break in the rain. So hopefully I can get this in before it starts raining. And not to lie to you, I'm freezing. It's cold here in Pennsylvania. So I'm gonna do the best that I can to get you these shots so that you can see a new technique. Now, last night on Talk Chat, I had a lot of people telling me, hey, that's great if you've got macro lenses and you have all that fancy equipment. I can't take close-ups because I don't have macro lenses. Well, the fact is, if you have a camera and you have a lens, you can take macro shots. Yeah, all you gotta do is take the lens off the camera and flip it around. So today I'm gonna work with primes. I've got my Olympus OMD EM1 Mark III. I'm gonna use the 17, the 25, and the 45 just to show you the differences and what we'll get from the different focal lengths. And because I'm seeing some other cool possibilities out here, I did bring my 12 to 100 out, but that's not gonna be for the macro shots. All right, so we're good to go. I'm gonna start with my 25mm lens. So remember, 2 times for you full frame users. So this is basically your nifty 50, right? So the closest that this lens is gonna let me focus without any aids or anything like that is what you're seeing pretty much right there, which, you know, is pretty darn good. The micro four thirds lenses do tend to focus closer than a full frame or an APS-C lens. So here's the trick. If I remove the lens from my camera, I'm gonna leave the filter on it, that's okay. And I'm gonna flip it around, and just so you can see here, I'm gonna hold it right there, right tight up against the camera, right? Now, I'm gonna come in here, and I'm gonna be able to focus all the way down to here. How amazingly close is that? Okay, so that's the 25mm flipped. Now, obviously, it's not raining right now. If you decide to go out and do this in the rain, don't hold your sensor straight up, right? But let's go ahead. I'm gonna take the 25 back off. We'll grab the 17, and we'll start out. We'll put the 17 on the camera, just so that we can see what it's gonna give us here. If we go for closest focusing, it's gonna be pretty doggone close. So it's like right about there. Not bad, right? But we'll go ahead and we'll remove it from the camera body. And again, same thing. Actually, I don't have a filter on this one, but I'm just gonna go ahead and hold it right over the camera like so. And come in here now, and I'm gonna get even closer yet on this tiny little like macro or, you know, micro dot that's there. Let's find a better piece of water. Yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania. I say water, okay? There we go. So there's a couple shots so you can get a sense of how close you can get with the 17. So it's a wide angle lens, and it gets even closer when you reverse it and do free lensing, okay? So let's set that one down. Let's go ahead and grab the 45, put a lens cap on there, and I am gonna go ahead and add a lens cap to this, just in case it starts raining. And now with the 45 mounted on the camera properly, what do we get here? Let's see, the closest I can focus, can I get closer? No, that's about it, right about there. Okay, so that's what you're getting. Now, if I'm gonna free lens with it and take it off the camera, flip it around like I've done the others, hold it in place. Now, adjust my exposure a little bit. I have, with this lens, not quite as much magnification, but still able to get really, really, ooh, I like what I'm seeing right there. Let's play with that. So obviously you're seeing incredibly shallow depth of field with these, right? It's pretty neat, but it's an opportunity to be able to do macro work without a macro lens. So those of you that were complaining to me that you don't have the ability to do macro shots, yes, you do. Go ahead, all right? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna switch back to the 12 to 100 for some shots that use a little bit more of the car. So no macro, right? Here we go. I want to play around with some of this red that's up at the top here, and also some of the lines that I get. There's definitely some cool stuff to be had. So we'll see what we got. So just to give you a sense right now, I'm at ISO 200, 1/100th of a second at 5.0. And let's see what we get. Really what I'm doing, I'm working right at this little intersection of the trunk, the tail lights, you know, where that groove is kind of playing at. And try, you know, some different angles with it, see if I can get some different lines. I think there's some cool stuff to be had here for sure. Good. I'm going to turn off my video light for just a second so that I get rid of one of my highlights. Take out some of the highlights that I was seeing. Oh, I'm liking this a lot. That's it. Okay. Again, I'm not a big fan of shooting with the flippy screen unless you need to. And right now, I need to. So here we go. Let's try this. Love those lines. Really cool lines. So I apologize that you can't see through my camera right now, but just to give you a sense, I'm getting some really, really cool. So we're going to keep playing with these lines a little bit more. Love that. Still working at ISO 200. About a 60th of a second now at f4. But you can see, again, what I'm trying to do here is I'm looking for different angles where I'm getting really good, interesting contrast between the reds, the dark blues. Keep in mind that, too, because the sky is really gray and cloudy, parts of the blue are very light blue, parts of the blue are very dark blue. There's also a little bit of silver and white in the middle of the tail light. So there's definitely some cool stuff to be had here. Okay? Awesome. Time to head back, see what we got. Okay, gang, I've got Lightroom open. I've already gone ahead and done my ratings. I came away with 148 files. Just to give you a sense of what is here, I'm going to scroll down through these so you can take a peek. Got some interesting stuff. Overall, I'm happy with the results. You know, keep in mind I did this entire shoot in a little over 10 minutes. The key to all of these assignments, you can do it really quick, but hopefully you're going to invest a little bit more time in your shots to really flush things out and really work them through and to experiment. Admittedly, I'm not making excuses, but admittedly, I'm going through these kind of fast because I'm trying to do one a day, and also, admittedly, I'm going through these kind of fast because I'm trying to do one a day and also shoot, edit, and post a video for you to be able to see it. So I went from that first group that you're seeing there to my threes, which are these that you're seeing here, my fours, which were just those three, and then I got it down to 6, and that's these guys right here. These are the ones that I'm going to play with. 2 of them I'm not really that excited by, but there's a little trick that I want to show you, and they'll be perfect to show you that trick. So, just like we've been doing, let's take all 6 of these. I'm going to open them in Camera Raw. There we go, and right out of the box, I'm going to go ahead, hit 15 on the clarity, 30 on the vibrance. We're going to do a 5 on the saturation today. We're going to sharpen to 60. We are going to hit remove chromatic aberration and enable profile corrections. So those 2 things are done, dialed in right out of the box. So let's go back to that first shot and we'll go to our develop panel. So of course, you know, I'm going to go ahead and hit the dehaze slider because I've been having a lot of fun with dehaze this week, right? Well, keep in mind that dehaze is designed to take out the UV light, and which is basically bluish. So it's going to have a really strong impact, right? It's going to put that contrast back in when you're shooting your scenic pictures, and it's that blue haze. So it's going to really do some extreme contrast here. So I'm honestly kind of digging that, like just right out of the box right there. Same thing here. I'm going to hit the dehaze again. This actually, look how rich it brings those colors in. I'm going to leave it right there. This is actually one of my favorite shots. This is one of the ones where I had the camera really low and was kind of shooting along the top edge of the hood of the car. I'm still going to go with the dehaze there, and I'm going to darken those blacks just a little bit, bring the highlights back up because I want them white. And then I'm curious about, oh, look at that. If I play with the color temperature, there's some really interesting stuff going here. But that being said, let me go back to as shot. Whoops, for some reason, I don't have my vibrance here. Let's hit those. Did I get my sharpening here? No, I didn't. So you know what? I must have only applied those on one file. My bad. So let's go back. All right. I want to go in just for the sake of seeing where the real color is. There should be blue in this, right? Because these water drops were sitting on a blue hood. Even though there's a lot of daylight coming in, keep in mind that overcast daylight has also got blue in it. So I'm just curious what's going to happen if I pop the blue. And indeed, I get some interesting color shades there. Blue and the cyan. I'm just going to hit the others just to see if anything happens at all. If there's any little hints of colors in there, could be fun. Oh, we get a little bit more. If we bring the purple up and the magenta, I'm going to pull out. I'm actually going to pull the yellow back out. So I'm going to leave that there. And then I'm just going to go play a little bit. Ooh, that's kind of interesting, but I don't think we'll do that. One more time, I just want to see what we get here. Yeah, we're going to go with as shot. And I may, you know, we're not actually. The more that I'm looking at that, let's go back. I'm thinking that I really want to pull the color out of this. So that being said, what do I get if I go to, yeah, like I'm kind of really digging that. Yeah, so we're going to leave that right there. I'm going to straighten out a little bit as we get going, but I'm kind of liking that. So this one, let me put my settings in again. I apologize. I apparently did not hit all of them. 15 on the clarity right out of the box. Sharpening at 60. And there we go. Okay, so this one's honestly pretty straightforward. I'm going to bring my highlights up a little. I'm going to bring my blacks down. We'll try the dehaze just to get a little bit of extra bump, but like that's it. It doesn't need a whole lot else. We'll do our cropping and our composition momentarily. This one here, we've got this really thin line of focus because we shot it on such a harsh angle. So again, I'll go ahead and dial my settings in here really quick and sharpen 60, whoops, not 600, 60, yep. And then we're going to go ahead and we're just going to hit that dehaze, bring the highlights up, bring the blacks down. Yeah, and even push that saturation just a tad more. Now, I am going to go into the hue, saturation, and luminance panels here. You can see, there's a little bit of other color influence that's creeping in. I'm going to pull those out completely. I don't want the greens in. Actually, for the green, let's leave that there. But give it more of a blue vibe. Okay, so just a little subtle touch there, but we're going to leave that there for the moment. And then this one, I am really loving this. So this is 15. I have a feeling this is going to be my pick of the day, this one right here. So we'll see once I get everything wrapped up, but let's go ahead and do 60 on the sharpening, do our chromatic aberration, profile corrections. Good. Now, that being said, I think I'm going to go right to dehaze here. Yep, and I'm going to hit that hard. I love what that does with the blues for sure. Going to go ahead and let the highlights come up a bit. Bring the black downs even a little bit more. There we go. Love the way those colors jump. Now I am curious with the blues. Do I want that blue a little bit brighter? And I do. I want it, and I'm going to go ahead and take the reds and make them a little bit darker. Yeah, so there we go. So that's where I want that to be for sure. Let's take all 6. Let's go ahead and open them in Photoshop. All right, so yesterday I did my cropping in the camera raw panel. You can do that, nothing wrong with that. Today, since I've already opened them, I'm gonna do my cropping here in Photoshop. I am gonna put on my gray layer, and if you don't understand what I just did, go back to day 1 of the Stuck at Home Challenge and I walk you through that whole process. We're gonna go ahead and do some kind of selective and creative dodging and burning here just to bring the attention where we want it to be. And I'm also going to use a brush. I'm going to do another one of those layers because I want it to be separate. And now I'm going to just kind of dial it back to the point where I like it. Actually, I know what's bugging me there. That's the problem right there. So I think what I need to do, I'm just going to loosely select this area. There's something about the highlights that are driving me nuts, and I'm realizing they probably have a little bit of blue in them. I could be completely wrong, but we're going to go ahead and see. I'm going to grab my blue slider. So to find out if there's blue in there, all I got to do is pull it up and see indeed there is. So I want to pull that blue out. We should also go check the cyans. Same thing, there's some cyan. I want to pull that out. And how do I get that? So I think the other thing I might do is go ahead and reselect that area, do a levels adjustment layer. Yeah, there we go. And then I want to blur that just a little bit so I don't have hard lines from it. We only need to blur it by about 60. There we go. Cool. So that one is done for me. I'm digging that. Next one up. So this one definitely is not going to make it into a horizontal format for me. This one's going to have to be square, and I'm going to go kind of right in here, like so. I'm going to put my dodge and burn layer on, and then I'm going to really bring the focus into this area where yeah. And I think with this one, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to jazz that saturation even a little bit more, taking it to the extreme. There's nothing that says that I can't do that, right? Okay. This one, I'm digging this. This is probably, I think, my number 2 for the day. Oops, let's get it back to the 16:9 because I want this one to go into video format for sure. So, all right, this one I really like, but I do want to level it off a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and create a second layer and just give it a little twist there. Cool. And now do my 16:9 cropping. I'm going to come in a little bit on each side to accommodate the fact that I twisted the file. And I'm going to leave that right there. Oof, definitely liking that. All right, for now, well, you know what? I'm just not sure on this one. There's a couple things that I'm seeing that I'm like, that could be kind of interesting. So what I am going to do is switch to a white gradient and make things a little bit lighter up at the top. Okay, good. Ever so slight, super soft, super subtle. Okay. And there we go. Yeah, I'm digging that. And then using the brush, a little smaller brush. There we go. Whoops, wrong color. Let's switch that back to black. And I want to darken this in here just a little. That's it, smaller brushes yet. Wait. Okay, and we're going to darken those just a little bit. Cool, and then even up through here. And then we're going to hit the blur on that, Gaussian blur, just to spread that out so there's no hard lines. Good. All right, so I'm kind of digging that. Next up, these guys, honestly, they just need to be cropped, period. Like, that's it for me. And I will say, the more I'm looking at that, so now normally I would not crop this tight. It's got nothing to do with Micro Four Thirds. It's got to do with the fact that I like to get the shot in frame, right? But that one highlight over on the side over here, right there, that one's just, that's driving me nuts. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get rid of that, and we're going to do that. And then for this one also, we're going to come in here. This one, the highlights are a little bit more important. I definitely want to do some dodge and burn work here. I'm kind of really thinking that we got to make these edges really dark. Same here. I want to get them almost to black. Get those corners up a little bit. There we go. And so it's all happening really right in the middle there. Okay. Actually, let's go back to this one too and get a little bit of vignetting on the top edge there. It kind of forces your eye down a little bit. All right. So there you have it, gang. There are my 6 shots for the day. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'll make them full screen in Photoshop there. There we go. Look at that detail. Wow. Another one. Crazy detail. Indeed, I think that one's my favorite just because I absolutely love the colors, but I will post these on Flickr. Watch. If you have questions, ask them below. Make sure you join my Facebook group. Let me know what you are doing for your stuck-at-home challenge. And in the meantime, go pick up that camera and shoot something. Because your best shot, it's your next shot. Adios, gang.